Relax Babe is dedicated to making CBD wellness easy, delightful, and routine by harnessing the power of full-spectrum CBD into pre-dosed, delicious, third-party tested gummies. Formulated by a team of organic food experts in California, Relax Babe CBD gummies contain only 6 simple ingredients, including the highest quality Colorado-farmed sativa indica blend hemp to specifically address stress, sleeplessness, pain, and inflammation morning or night. Use coupon code FINDINGGENIUS for a 20% discount at checkout. Visit shoprelaxbabe.com to shop now.
Forget frequently asked questions,
common sense, common knowledge, or Google.
How about advice from a real genius? 95% of people in any profession are good enough to be qualified and licensed. 5%
go above and beyond.
They become very good at what they do, but only
0.1%
are real geniuses. Richard Jacobs has made it his life's mission to find them for you. He hunts down and interviews geniuses in every field: sleep science, cancer, stem cells, ketogenic diets, and more. Here come the geniuses. This is the Finding Genius Podcast
with Richard Jacobs.
Hello, this is Richard Jacobs with the Finding Genius Podcast, now part of the Finding Genius Foundation. My guest today is Lindsey Hogan. She's the owner of a company that whose name I keep saying different ways, but it's called Relax Babe. We're going to talk about the CBD gummies that they make and other products. So, Lindsey, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me, Rich. I really appreciate it. I love the Finding Genius team.
Well, thank you. Well, tell me about your journey. How did you get interested in CBD, and how did you start this company?
Yeah. So essentially, when I was working for advertising agencies and in the startup world, both notorious for quote unquote, the fast paced work environments, which, we all know really just means working really long hours. I had become increasingly stressed and anxious, which led me to poor sleep. And it was just a vicious cycle. I had recently met my life partner, and the things that were important in my life suddenly shifted, and being so stressed out and anxious and tired were getting in the way of me enjoying what mattered most. Before then, I thought, it was totally normal to always be too busy. And really, truth be told, I found it was consistently glorified or approved by peers and bosses and family even. It was somehow this badge of success. So when I realized the lifestyle I was living no longer suited me, I started looking for natural ways to deal with my anxiety, stress, and sleeplessness. From my time living in California, I remembered friends in the medical marijuana industry talking about the amazing benefits of CBD. I started looking for products, but for me to add something to my daily routine and stick to it, there were pretty high standards for the product I would choose. I wanted something that was vegan, organic, all natural, had simple ingredients, no artificial flavoring, was third-party tested, delicious. And on top of all of that, I wanted a brand that felt like it was for me, someone who wanted wellness, but needed it to be fun and engaging. So as you can probably imagine from that long list of requirements, I came up empty-handed, and I really felt a little lost in the CBD world. Like none of the products were made for me, which made me think there must be people out there who feel the same, people who want a trustworthy product that checks all the boxes on the inside, but on the outside is just a fun, approachable, accessible, and welcoming wellness brand. So I made a brand just like that. Relax Babe was born.
What was it about CBD gummies or products that weren't satisfying to you? What didn't you like about their products of other people's?
Yeah. So at the time, this was 2019. And at the time, there were only a few leading brands, and most of them were oils. And for me, putting something under my tongue or having to have it be with a tea or coffee in the morning just wasn't feasible. I just didn't feel like I could stick to a routine like that. I didn't like the flavor or the taste. So I started looking for a gummy, and the gummy world felt kind of fraught with products that I couldn't really trust, or had a long list of ingredients that I couldn't pronounce, or had all those things, but just didn't really taste that good. And for me, sticking with a daily routine, and especially something that's going to help me with an ailment that is, bothersome to me, I want it to be a little treat. I want it to be something that's nice for me to take, that I can kind of look forward to if the stress comes on or I'm having a sleepless night. I never wanted it to feel like a chore, because I knew I just wouldn't stick with that. So I couldn't find anything that had all of those things, was delicious. And then, obviously the bonus of having the fun, funky brand that goes along with it.
Well, I've noticed when I've
seen or tried gummies. Some of them say full spectrum. Some of them say, I forget what else, they'll say. Some will
Pure.
say, 1,000 milligrams on the bottle or 5,000 milligrams. You don't know how many per gummy. I guess you just divide by number of gummies. But I don't know. I just don't know when, there'd be 3 or 4 brands sometimes in a store, and I don't know which one's better, why. So you just ask the counter person, which ones do customers like, and they tell you. But other than that, what differentiates different gummies from one another or different CBD products?
Yeah, so the number one thing that's important to look for when looking for a CBD product is third-party testing, because that ensures that there's, consistency across all of the products that they're selling across each gummy. And so that's huge. That's a big thing that I looked for when I was looking for a manufacturing partner, is a product that was consistently tested and making sure that, all of the products are the same, so that I can confidently say in our 300 milligram pouch, we've got 30 gummies. There's going to be 10 milligrams per gummy. So that's really important. And then I think for me personally, I just think a long list of ingredients makes me weary. I think that having too many ingredients, all of a sudden you get kind of lost in it, and it becomes less about, well, where's the CBD in this? Where's the thing that I'm taking this for? So I feel like that's an indicator for me that what are all these other ingredients that I'm taking along with something that's supposed to help?
Yeah. What are any preservatives you observed that you've had bad reactions to, or ones that really shouldn't be in gummies? Any names of ones that are bad?
Well, I would have a hard time pronouncing a lot of them, but I would say mainly I just find the artificial dyes and colorings. I mean, we all know red dye, I think it's like red dye 5 or something, is not great, and things like that. It just, for me personally, I just live a very natural lifestyle, and taking something that's a natural supplement, a natural herb, just anything artificial isn't great, I don't think.
Yeah, that makes sense. I know there's like red dye number 40, etc.
Yeah, there it is. Red dye
There's
number 40. Yeah.
There's like guar gum and potassium sorbate, all kinds of stuff. But anyway.
Yeah.
What about the composition of gummies? Like when they say full spectrum, and there's another term for it that's different from that. But what are some of the common terms that people might see if they get gummies, and what do they mean?
Yeah, so CBD isolate, which is I think the one you're looking for, that one's just purely CBD. There's nothing else from the hemp plant. But full spectrum CBD means that they're taking the CBD, but they're also taking other cannabinoids in trace amounts from the hemp plant, including, there are trace amounts of THC, but it basically creates this entourage effect. And there's a concept where the entourage effect, people believe that it really helps to have that full spectrum of CBD and cannabinoid, aspect of the hemp plant in the product that they're taking. And they just feel that it gives, more, what's the word for it? Like I guess, to what they're taking. It just helps them better. CBD isolate's great, but it's just pure CBD, and full spectrum is what we offer, which many people find is just, a more well-rounded source of the hemp plant.
Yeah, it makes sense. I've heard there's dozens of different CBD compounds. When it's full spectrum, are you able to say which kind of compounds are in it? I heard there's like CBDN, CBDG, or CBG, or CBN.
Yes.
Are you familiar with some of the various cannabinoids?
So ours are just purely CBD. We keep it simple. We don't have the CBN or any of the other additional ones that have come out after the whole CBD craze. Just keep it kind of simple and stick to what we know has worked.
Yeah, I've seen recently now there's like Delta 8, Delta 9, THCO. I mean, there's like I don't know, there's probably like 15 or 20 different ones now. I don't know what they are.
Yeah, the Delta 8 is synthetic weed. So it's actually kind of interesting because, it's kind of, I guess you could say it's legal. People are selling it, but it's interesting that, synthetic weed is somehow legal, but natural weed is not. Yeah, that is what it is, because it does give you a high, and it's just made in a lab.
Okay. Yeah, which may or may not be good. What about the form of it, the form factor? So I know there's dissolvable ones that people put under their tongue. There's tinctures, they take a little eyedropper full. There's gummies, there's hard candies. Why the gummy? Why do you prefer that method?
Relax, Babe gummies are vegan, organic, all natural, and infused with CO2 extracted hemp. to provide the purest, best tasting, highest quality CBD to support and aid your body's endocannabinoid system. Try their variety pack today and make everyday wellness within reach. They're offering our listeners a generous 20% off their first purchase. You can use coupon code FINDINGGENIUS, no spaces in it, Finding Genius, at checkout to save 20% site-wide. Just visit shoprelaxbabe.com.
I just prefer the gummy because the whole brand concept of Relax Babe was really based on making wellness simple. It's less simple if you have to have a dropper, right? You have to dose yourself. If you're on the go and you can just grab a gummy that's pre-dosed to perfection, like that's why the gummy. And because they taste good, I also wanted it to be a little treat for someone who's having a bad day. But really, it's just about knowing how much you're taking and being able to then, if you take 10 milligram and you feel like you need a little bit more, you know exactly that if you take 2, you've got 20 milligrams. So you're never wondering. I talk to so many people who I'll say, how much do you take a day? And they're, you can just see kind of like the question mark squiggles above their head of like, I don't really know, just grab the dropper. And I just think it's important to know what you're taking, how much you're taking of it, so that you can be, a conscious consumer and an advocate for yourself, right? When you're in a market and looking at different products, knowing what you should be taking and how much is important.
Well, if it's not metered properly, then sometimes you take it, you're probably like, oh, that was too much. And sometimes It's not enough. So you don't know. If you know exactly 10 milligram or 20 milligrams good for you, then you're good with that. Or if you want to cut back, or if you want to add just a little bit, you know how much to add. So it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just thinking of Sour Patch Kids, but do you guys have a little sugar crystals on the outside of the gummies? Or are they just smooth, or what are they like?
We do have sugar crystals, which some people like and some people don't. The people who don't like it, I think they just rub it off, which I think is very funny and cute. But yeah, they do have the sugared crystals on them, which the biggest, besides getting that they work well, the CBD works well for them. That's in our product. Our second biggest compliment and review is that they taste amazing and that, they are definitely a treat. And it's hard to stop yourself from eating more than one. So they do have the sugar crystals. They are about like an inch in size. So they're a sizable gummy. They're not just like a little tiny vitamin gummy, and you can really enjoy it.
Have you thought about making any sour ones like Sour Patch Kids?
It would be cool. And I do think that a lot of companies have those, but I've been keeping it so simple with the concept. I get weary of adding so many SKUs and new products just because, my whole line of business is really focused on just simplicity and self-care. And so I just am trying to make it as simple for customers as possible, to choose something that, is like universally liked and will work for them, just because. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like everything is so complicated these days. You go onto online shops and even that's confusing. Even companies that are just for CBD or just for one industry, they've got so many products, and it still becomes a question mark of what should I get? What do I buy? What's going to taste good? What's going to work for me? So I really just try and keep it kind of simple and easy for people.
So the variations in them are the strength and the flavor, or just flavor, or like how many different kinds do you have and what's different about them?
Yeah, so there's 3 different pouch options, and the different pouches are colored. So the first one is purple and blue, and that one is 300 milligrams for the whole pouch, so 10 milligrams per gummy. The next level up is the green pouch, which is 750 milligrams per pouch, and that's 25 milligrams per gummy. And then the top is the orange pouch, which is 1,500 milligrams per pouch, and that is 50 milligrams per gummy. And each pouch comes with 30 count of gummies, so about a month's supply for most of our customers. And we do memberships to, again, make it simple and easy for people to keep up with their routine. And each pouch comes with 5 assorted flavors. So we've got green apple, strawberry, grape, orange, and pineapple. I always ask, what's your favorite flavor? And it's a tough draw. Everybody has their favorite, but they always say it's tough to choose, because they're all pretty tasty.
Yeah, I've had some that taste chemically, and then, in the back of your mind, you feel like it's probably not too good for me because it doesn't taste really good. It makes you not want to keep having them. But if it's a clear taste and it tastes good, then it's easy to eat them, and then you tend to eat them no problem, I guess.
Yeah, no, totally. And like I said, our ingredient list is, really simple for that reason, because we just uncomplicate the choice for people. That's what I wanted when I was looking for a product. I wanted something that I didn't have to question. I didn't have to feel, concerned about seeing, oh, what's this on the ingredient list? Or like, oh, this does taste kind of funky. It tastes a little off. Like, is it really what's in there? I just wanted to be sure of what I was taking and not really have to think about it and not be extra stressed about the thing I'm taking for stress.
Is there age restriction to the product? Maybe it's a stupid question, but
We
is there?
typically, just based off of, government restrictions, we just typically say 18 and older. But yeah, leave it up to the discretion of their own family and household, however they feel fit. But typically we don't sell to anyone under 18.
If it tastes too good and it's too easy, do you ever worry that, I don't know, someone will say, oh, you make it easy for kids to have it? Or is that not been a concern?
That's a really good question. And also our packaging is really fun and eye-catching. But, I think the people who take it are and have children are pretty cognizant of that, and they keep it in their own special area. If someone were to have it, it wouldn't do anything crazy to you. So it's not a huge concern just because it's a natural product. It's not going to, no one's going to overdose on it. So no, not really. I just, trusting our customers to do what's right for them and their household.
Well, have you ever had too much CBD for you or spoken to someone that has? And if they have, quote unquote, too much, how do they feel versus how do they want to feel?
Yeah. So I actually I've tested out quite a bit of milligram options, and it just becomes like a little bit of a heady feeling for me. And I think other people have said, they've had similar feelings if they've taken more than was kind of the right spot for them. That's why I always recommend that people start really small. I always say just start with the lowest dose, take one, or even take a half of one if you're really reactive to things. Some people, their bodies are so responsive to any type of natural or over-the-counter prescription medication. And so for those people, I say just start really small, because you can always add on. You never want to, jump into the highest dose, just because you won't be able to tell what your threshold was if you do that. So it does just give you kind of like a heady feeling. People just end up hanging out on their couch or sleeping or nothing crazy. It just make you a little sleepy if you take too much. But yeah, so I always just recommend kind of keeping it at a low dose first and working your way up.
Well, if you take the right amount, what have you heard from people? What have you experienced that you feel?
If you take the right amount, it is the best way that I have ever heard CBD, the feeling of CBD described is it's working if you feel nothing. And what they mean by that is just that if you're having anxiety, if you're having stress, if you're unable to sleep, it's working when you don't have that sleeplessness, when you don't have that stress, when you don't have that anxiety. And it's so funny because it's such a subtle difference, in your day. And I take it for anxiety and stress, and I'll be having almost near panic attack, and I'll take one, and 30 minutes later, I just feel like I can breathe again. And it happens so subtly that you just don't even realize that it's happening. And all of a sudden, you feel better. You feel like, oh, what was I even anxious or stressed about? It's an amazing feeling. And I can say personally, it's been a huge help to me. I've struggled with anxiety my whole life, and taking CBD has been just game changing in my day, because it's not something that, I have consistently throughout the whole day. Oftentimes it'll come on at night for me. So I don't want to take something prescription because it's just more of like a time of day thing for me. And so having something that's a little more natural that I can take on the spot that can help in that moment is really valuable for me. And I know our customers have said many of the same things. A lot of our customers take it for those main three things, which are stress, anxiety, and sleeplessness, and have seen a lot of success with it.
Yeah, it seems to just take the edge off and make people a little bit less anxious, a little bit, less frantic, more relaxed and calm and feeling a bit better. And I guess when they take the edge off, you're able to get things done that you couldn't if you were more anxious.
Totally. You're just able to breathe and focus and recommit to your day and to the moment, which is really what, I wanted to bring to our customers.
Where did the name come from, by the way? And does that mean that it's a guy giving the gummies to a girl, or is the name come from somewhere else?
So it really, a babe could be anybody, could be man, woman, doesn't really matter, anything in between. We're all babes. So it's really just speaking to the human experience of just relaxing and kind of taking back the word, because I think relax is used sometimes so negatively towards people when they're having emotions or feelings, or say, oh, relax. And that never helps. And so it's kind of like taking ownership of that word. And we're just, saying to our customers, hey, relax, babe. We gotcha.
And then it'd be funny if you have relax, babe, relax, hun. Maybe the strong one's like, relax, goddammit. It really has to help.
I think as more natural, like herbal plant medicine becomes available, I definitely want to expand into that. I think that we could have a lot of fun with some additional herbal supplements and having names like that. So stay tuned.
Yeah. Well, what are your plans for the near future? Is it just, things are working, they're simple, sell more, or is it are there other products that are coming?
For right now, it's the former, keeping it simple and just trying to reach more people. I don't feel like we've reached, all the customers that we could with the product that we have. And I really just want to focus on getting that out there. And then in addition, my kind of passion and universe now revolves around making self-care simple. So I'm working on other businesses that offer simple self-care. And so kind of just keeping each one of these businesses simple in how they relate to customers and what they offer to customers. Like I said, if at one point, some additional products and plant medicines become available, I would love to go into medicinal mushrooms at some point. I think that would be a great addition, but it has to be the right fit, and it has to just be really focused on providing simple, holistic wellness and plant medicine to our customers. And I definitely don't want to just add product to add product, and because I just think there's so much still potential left in the CBD gummies that we offer, and so many more people to reach and help.
That makes sense. Well, where can people get the Relax Babe gummies? Where can they go?
Yeah, so they are always available on our website at shoprelaxbabe.com. And we also, if you go on our Instagram, you'll see quite a few wholesalers that we have. We're in shops across the U.S. right now. And so you can find us in typically bigger cities. We are in Nashville. That is where I'm located. So we've got quite a few retailers here. And check out our Instagram for where else you can find us.
Okay. Well, very good. Well, it was good to meet you. And thanks so much for coming on the podcast and keeping it simple and providing these good products. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was great to meet you, Rich, as well. Thank you so much for having me on.
Remember, before you go, adding Relax Babe gummies to your daily routine is an amazing way to support your everyday wellness. Get your CBD products from a company who's passionate about making CBD wellness simple, delicious, and routine so you don't have to worry about anything. Relax Babe is giving our listeners 20% off their first purchase. Use coupon code FINDINGGENIUS with no space, FINDINGGENIUS at checkout, and you'll save 20% site-wide. Visit shoprelaxbabe.com.
If you like this podcast, please click the link in the description to subscribe and review us on iTunes.
You've been listening to the Finding Genius podcast with Richard Jacobs. If you like what you hear, be sure to review and subscribe to the Finding Genius podcast on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. And want to be smarter than everybody else? Become a premium member at findinggeniuspodcast.com. This podcast is for information only. No advice of any kind is being given. Any action you take or don't take as a result of listening is your sole responsibility. Consult professionals when advice is needed.